Hello and welcome back to our St. Joseph reflection video. It's so amazing this year that we've had of all the different things that we've learned about St. Joseph thanks to Pope Francis declaring this the year of St. Joseph. If you haven't had the chance to read his Apostolic letter, Patris Corde, I highly suggest that you do it. It's a super easy read, short, and has a lot of really great things to reflect on in regards to St. Joseph's life. If you haven't watched any of the previous reflections, they are available on all of our social media outlets. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Vimeo, and our website. And there's so many great things in the conversations with our previous guests that I really hope that you check those out and continue to deepen your relationship with St. Joseph. In this episode, I am so blessed to be joined by Elizabeth and Michael. Thank you so much for being my guest this week.
Thank you for having us.
Really excited. First time having a married couple, so this is kind of fun.
First time being on some kind of reflection or video, so that's fun. Well, no, I did one before. Never mind.
Still fun.
Michael's first time.
Well, welcome. And my favorite question to start out every conversation that I have is, who is St. Joseph to you? Is he someone that you've always had a relationship with? Is it something that started when you were married? Something that started with the year of St. Joseph?
So I think for me, my relationship as a Catholic man started when I was at Baylor. On campus, we had a student center. Right off campus, we had a student center. And St. Joseph was a very integral part of the different men's organizations as a part of Knights, and then a couple other ones, Awakening, things of that nature. And we had... we look to him for guidance in our daily studies, the activities we did together, tailgates with Knights, Bible studies, things of that nature. So that's where I think I got to know St. Joseph a little deeper as an individual. I'll let you go there, and then we can talk about him in our marriage.
Okay, I was just going to say I haven't thought much about St. Joseph other than in relation to Mary and thinking about how he exemplifies a husband who is supportive of whatever his wife needs of him. It's interesting to think that Mary has this big task that she needs to do, that she's been called to do, and St. Joseph steps in as her protector and is supportive of her the whole way through, even in the beginning when he doesn't know that it's actually God's son. He's willing to divorce her quietly just to make sure that it's not because it's something she could get killed for. He loves her that much that he is willing to let her go in such a way that she wouldn't be hurt. But then when God says, no, this is my son, it's going to be okay, he just steps up and he helps protect his wife and his adopted son.
Yeah, that's so true. I think it's something that I've learned from all the videos that I've done is that some people have a really long relationship with St. Joseph, and other people didn't really start having a relationship with him until the year of St. Joseph, or even just before being a guest on this reflection video and having had time to think about it. But I think that it's important to realize that, yes, he is integrated into every aspect of our lives through Bible study, through the normalcy of going to a football game or, just hanging out with friends, but then also so related to Mary. Mm-hmm. And you can't really talk about one without referencing the other. And having a relationship with both of them, I think, helps grow in the relationships with them individually, which is also probably true of your relationship with St. Joseph as being married. I think that you each bring integral parts to that, but then together you have a different relationship than individually.
We have a tradition that we started that we make Easter baskets for each other. Oh. And we'll get a religious gift and some kind of candy. And Michael really wanted things for St. Joseph this past year.
As a married couple, there's a statue at my home parish just next to the altar opposite of the tabernacle, and in many parishes, and even in the background behind you, we see a statue of Saint Joseph. But the one in my home parish is a little unique in that it has Saint Joseph, Mary, and Jesus as infant. And Joseph is kind of standing behind them in a protection, kind of like I've got you, I'm here, which I think is pretty much how we hear about Saint Joseph in the Gospels and in Elizabeth's example. So I think the Easter one I'm going to have to remember a little bit, but I would assume my thoughts there were around that role Saint Joseph plays as the spouse to Mary and as the spiritual father to Jesus, and how one day hopefully as a family we will play those similar roles in mirroring the Holy Family.
And we've kind of had that opportunity with our godsons too. I remember that you took answering that question very seriously when they asked us.
I mean, that's definitely a very important role in the life of a child, like being that extra witness and that extra protection and protector of them in their faith and walking with them on that journey. And just thinking about your description of that statue in your home parish reminds me, my personal favorite depiction of Saint Joseph is this statue of him kind of sitting cross-legged, and then Mary and Jesus are in his lap, and he is significantly larger than them. It's like the Pietà, where Mary is significantly larger than what she would be like in actual ratio. But this depiction of Saint Joseph, where he is completely surrounding them, and the whole sense of being the protector and the caregiver and the leader of the family, even though he was, like, in comparison to them, the least holy, because Jesus is the Son of God and Mary with her Immaculate Conception, but Joseph is still just the next most holy person, and just thinking about their relationship as a family and talking about the virtues of Saint Joseph, like his humility, his surrender, his trust, and even his sacrifice, like sacrificing his reputation to divorce Mary quietly, but instead, decides to stay with her. Those virtues that he encompasses so well, which we're also seeing in the Apostolic letter, how have those inspired you in your marriage, or even just in your own spiritual life, maybe in interacting with each other, with friends, with family, or even in your job?
Something that strikes me about St. Joseph, that you mentioned he's the leader of the family. And I do try to do that for you. On St. Francis's feast day, we bless the cats. But you need to be the one to bless the cats because you're the head of the household. That's a very silly example, but I do try to look to you for leadership. And though we make decisions together, respect you in that way.
I mean, even though that is a silly example with the blessing of the animals and having him take the leadership and take the ownership of that, I think that's still relevant to St. Joseph in the life of Mary and the life of Jesus, and how he took initiative for different things and following the will of the Father, going where he was led, going where he was called, and even thinking about the situation of Jesus in the temple and when he was lost. He probably took that ownership and that initiative of going and taking Mary with him in her stress and confusion and like, oh my gosh, where's my son? And he was there for her and comforting her and being with her until Jesus was found. So in that same situation, like, he also took the ownership of being the head of the household and protecting the family and making sure that everything was in place and happened. Just looking back even more deeply into the life of the Holy Family and how, Advent is coming up as well, and then we get to reflect on the Holy Family even more deeply because we celebrate the birth of Christ and the celebration of their family coming to fruition and, everything that they did that influenced the holiness of every person in the family, and help them in their relationship with God. And just every year when we celebrate Advent, I've been trying to get better about reflecting on a different aspect of the Holy Family and diving deeper into my vocation, being a daughter for my parents, but also, being a part of a parish family, or even like my friend family in Dallas, since I'm not originally from here. And I also, really like to know what aspect of the Holy Family is inspiring or motivating to other people. So as a married couple, I don't know if you had a different perspective on that.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to recognize, just the magnitude of what the Holy Family went through, just especially in those early years when they were being hunted,
Yeah.
And it makes any of our problems and troubles seem insignificant in comparison. And so, we look at how they handled probably the craziest, birth story and raising of Jesus, and then seeing him in the temple as this young man who's outshowing and outshining the scholars in the temple with his knowledge and wisdom, and just being like, wow, we're not worthy of that presence. And in our lives, seeing how they handled that with grace and with love and hope, kind of brings some of that to our marriage and our relationship, kind of as we mirror the Holy Family. And just thinking of the vows that we made when we were married, and the parts of the Mass where there's a lot of parallelism that's called out explicitly for all to hear and be reminded of. So that just kind of stands out to me.
And I was just thinking, when you were talking about suffering, we've both been in situations where we had to take each other to the emergency room, and just suffering with each other as a family, a little family of two. We've had to walk through that, and I hope we have a lot more years, hopefully a lot more years without emergency room visits.
Yeah.
But that is a tough thing to see somebody you love in pain. Like, it's one thing if you're in pain, because then you at least have the pain, and that's something to do. But watching someone else and all you can do is pray for them. I'm sure the Holy Family had a lot of moments like that. Mary certainly had a lot of moments like that. But St. Joseph too, like watching over his family as they fell asleep on the way to the flight to Egypt, or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that even though the Holy Family was holy, they still had sufferings and they still had sacrifices that they had to make, so there's still that relatability factor there. But also realizing that even though our issues in family and marriage seem small in comparison to that, it still can be big in our lives, and it can still be a moment where God works through it and helps us grow deeper in relationship with him, or deeper in relationship with Mary, Joseph, a different saint, and not minimalizing that either, and just continuing to strive for those virtues that are encompassed by the saints, hopefully this year specifically from St. Joseph. And it's just always so great to see the witness of a married couple and their faith, and having each other's back and being supportive and uplifting and challenging each other to be better and be holy and strive for sainthood together. So it was so great for you to be a guest on this episode. I loved being able to talk to two people at once. It's a lot more fun. And I hope that you continue to grow in your relationship with St. Joseph as this year comes to an end.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of our St. Joseph reflection. I hope that you got out something like I did, and maybe have a deeper reflection on your family life or your marriage, or any type of relationship that is important to you. And like always, Please like us on all of our social media outlets: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Come to our website, look at our videos on Vimeo. And be sure to watch our next episode next month in December. It's going to be pretty fun. It's a little bit of a rewind of everything that has happened so far this year, and a reminder to continue to be in a relationship with St. Joseph going into 2022. Thank you, and God bless.